The Smallest Show on Earth is a charming British comedy film. Directed by Basil Dearden, it was released on the 9th of April 1957. A young couple, the Spencers, Virginia McKenna and Bill Travers, inherit a small rundown old cinema after the death of Matt's great uncle. The Bijou Kinema, or the Flea Pit as it's known locally, is a dusty, rundown old relic. Situated sandwiched between two very noisy railroad bridges, which makes for each screening being an extra lively and noisy cinematic experience. It is staffed by three eccentric, crusty old timers who are as worn out as the cinema itself. The now closed cinema is not the valuable inheritance the Spencers were quite expecting. We have Miss Vasarcally, the cashier, Margaret Rutherford, in a rather restrained outing, Mr. Quill, the alcoholic projectionist, Peter Sellers, and demure doorman usher Tom, Bernard Miles. They have worked in the cinema for years and are like part of the building's fixtures and fittings. In fact, they are the only ones who know how the Bijou runs and operates, especially the cinema's antiquated projection equipment. Very set in their ways, slightly decrepit and constantly bickering, they yet have a love for the old cinema, which is genuinely affecting. With some advice from their solicitor, Leslie Phillips, the Spencers plan a cunning ruse to pretend to reopen the cinema in order to get a better sales offer from Mr. Hardcastle, Francis de Wolfe, the proprietor of the Grand, a very upmarket cinema next door. Hardcastle is a shrewd businessman who is desperate to buy the Bijou, but doesn't want to pay much to get it. After Hardcastle discovers their deception, he withdraws his offer, which leaves the Spencers with no option but to open the Bijou for real. Despite a slow start and a few comedic mishaps, to the Spencers' astonishment, the cinema actually starts to attract customers again. And with some shrewd and cunning marketing gimmicks, the Bijou proves a roaring success with the public. The Smallest Show on Earth is a quaint piece of British cinematic nostalgia, with good performances from a great cast. Sellers especially a standout as a shaky old codger Mr. Quill, who amusingly holds down his projection equipment in place as each train thunders by. In fact, the whole building feels like it could fall down at any moment, seemingly only being held together by the sheer determination and goodwill of its staff. The film mixes an effective blend of nostalgia, sentiment, and pathos into a winning formula, as we observe how the lives of these characters are shaped and affected by the life and times of the Bijou. Integral to the functioning of the place, they are the blood which pumps through its creaky veins and gives it life, as it were. They are the beating heart of the Bijou, a slow but steady pulse, admittedly. The Bijou's very existence gives their lives purpose and meaning, a sense of worth to people who would probably otherwise go unnoticed in the big bad world outside. A scene where they play silent films at the end of the day with accompaniment by Miss Visacali, bringing Mr. Quill to tears in his projection booth, being especially touching. However, the story here is too light, and the film, although amusing, is not really funny. With no real witty dialogue or standout scenes, we are left with just the performers' pleasing turns, which is not enough to make this a classic. So charming in many ways, if a little short on plot, this is still very watchable feel-good fluff. A warm-hearted look back at the small independent cinema era, made with real feeling and affection by its stars. So I give The Smallest Show on Earth 6.9 out of 10 stars. Pretty good, but shy of being a classic. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.